Hi, I'm Ryan Baker, this is Big Data Education, and in this lecture we're going to talk about fine-tuning large language models. And I'd like to credit again for this lecture support and advice from Maciek Pankowitz, Andre Sambrano, and Rachel Liu. So, as noted before, much earlier in the course, large language models, like other deep learning, consist of an extremely complex neural network with an input layer, hidden layers, attention mechanisms, and an output layer. And in fine-tuning, the developer provides additional inputs and outputs, and the neural network is itself modified to better fit the new data, modifying the weights of the network to accomplish this. More specifically, fine-tuning methods modify the weights of a network to better fit a specific dataset. And according to OpenAI's website, it modifies the hidden layer weights, the attention mechanism weights, the hyperparameter weights, and the output layer weights. Also, according to the OpenAI website, this can produce clear differences in output for as few as 50 examples. But the more data, the better. There's also evidence of diminishing returns as the amount of data increases past a certain point. How much data exactly? Your mileage might vary depending on exactly what you're doing. Fine-tuning is particularly useful if you're sending the same long prompt over and over. It replaces an ongoing cost, repeatedly sending the same long prompt, with a one-time cost, fine-tuning. It also increases speed because there's no need for the model to repeatedly process the same long prompt. We've also learned that fine-tuning is a method of getting around deprecation. Once you fine-tune a model, OpenAI retains it even if the base model is no longer available. But warning, OpenAI has not permanently guaranteed this. So if you do this, you fine-tune a model and OpenAI later deprecates it, I'm really sorry, don't blame me. Keep in mind that nothing with these vendors is completely guaranteed. I mean, goodness, in the time since large language models first came out as chatbots, 18 months ago at the time I'm speaking right now, there have already been vendors who've completely disappeared. One great use case for fine-tuning is to change the style, tone, or format of responses to match examples. If you just need a general change, prompt engineering is usually easier and faster, but sometimes there are things you want it to do that are just more complicated than what you can easily accomplish with prompt engineering. You can also use fine-tuning to correct cases where prompting produces incorrect examples. In this case, you give it the examples and you tell it what to say, and with enough examples, it can start to find the pattern underlying where its responses are not what you want. You can also use fine-tuning to do a task that's hard to explain, such as writing discussion forum post responses like Ryan Baker in the GPTA project. What is Ryan Baker like? What's a Ryan Baker style? How do you even explain it? I'm Ryan Baker and I can't explain it, but I can train a model to be like me. A core precondition to fine-tuning is that you need to have the examples already, or a process that can generate those examples, such as showing humans the large language model responses and asking them to identify incorrect ones and suggest a better alternative. And this, for example, has been used by Conmigo. Some limitations of fine-tuning. Although it can be very powerful, it has high initial costs and training time, and it locks you into a model version when better ones may become available later. So, on the one hand, when a model gets deprecated and goes away, that can be a bad thing because it makes the results irreplicable. It's also true that there's a reason why they're enhancing their models, and sometimes that really does make things better. If you fine-tune, you're locked into your earlier model. It also changes the output, not the knowledge base. If you want the large language model to have additional information, it's better to use embeddings rather than fine-tuning. That concludes our discussion and our deep dives into large language models and foundation models, and in general into text. Next up is Week 8, our final week, Advanced Topics. I'm Ryan Baker, this is Big Data and Education. Thank you for joining us.